I'm Michael Drake. I'm the Director of Graduate and International Admissions at North Park University. I've been at North Park for about 10 years, working with international students for most of those 10 years. And now, as of the last, well, I guess since June of last year, I started working directly with graduate students, both domestic and international graduate students. The presentation here is exclusively about undergraduate students, but we do have some postgraduate programs that do welcome international students. And I'm happy to answer any questions about postgraduate or graduate studies, either during the presentation or following the presentation. Oh, come on. During the presentation, we'll talk about North Park, our identity as a university, who we are, some key distinctives about the university, specifically our Christian heritage and our Christian identity, our location, and we'll also talk about some of our academic programs and the quality of academics that students can expect, as well as what to expect living on campus, participating in the campus community, which would include athletics. And then we'll talk about the application requirements for our undergraduate students. And then I'll be happy to answer any questions from there. So North Park is a small university, but we're located in the third largest city in the United States. We enroll about 1,700 bachelor degree students and another 1,200 graduate students. Our students are coming from all over the world. We've got about 58 countries represented on campus, 6 continents, and we've got students coming from all over the United States. The education at North Park is a little bit different. Students are given typically their lecture notes prior to class. And so they come to class expected to participate in open dialogue with the professor, with the students in their classroom. And so with the diversity that comes with a North Park classroom, students can expect to have just very engaging, rich conversation. They're going to hear from students with very different worldviews, very different perspectives from them, which really enhances the learning experience. North Park is purposefully intercultural. This is a key distinctive here at North Park, or one of our core identities. You can see here the cultural breakdown. North Park is very unique in that we are a majority minority campus. So about 38% of our students are white Caucasian students. And then you can see the remaining demographics listed here. Almost 10% international. And we've got a very large Hispanic student population as well. North Park is a very transfer-friendly institution, whether those are students transferring from universities or community colleges in the United States, or whether they're transferring to North Park from a university outside of the United States. In fact, about a third of our student body are transfer students. If students are interested in transferring, or if they started their education somewhere else, it typically benefits them to transfer the credit. Even if they're looking to study a different program than what they started, transferring credits, the majority of time, help them graduate much quicker. And so I always encourage students to transfer credits if they've started elsewhere. We also encourage students to get us involved in the class registration process if they're looking at another university with the intent of transferring to North Park at a later date. That way we can make sure that they select classes that will transfer, so that they can really maximize their time and their money if their plan is to try to save costs by going through a transfer process. Student to teacher ratio at North Park is 12:1. Average class size is 17, and the majority of our faculty have PhDs, and the remaining 10% are going to have terminal degrees in their field. The classroom environment is going to be small. It's going to be intimate. Professors are going to get to know their students and vice versa. This is one of the characteristics of North Park that students often reflect on as a very positive experience. Students really enjoy mentoring. Professors really enjoy mentoring students and helping them really identify what careers and career choices are going to be best suited to their skill set and their desires. So North Park is a Christian university. Again, this is a core distinctive of North Park. What does that mean for your students? It can mean a variety of things. North Park, even though we are a Christian university, we're welcoming students from all religious faiths and no religious faiths. You don't have to be a Christian to come to North Park. And in fact, your experience at North Park is going to be what you make of it, whether you are wanting to engage in the Christian faith or whether you're coming to North Park for a completely different reason and you don't want anything to do with faith. There's going to be a community for you regardless of where you stand in this. I think the two real characteristics of the Christian faith that all students identify with at North Park is an interest in service. North Park students typically have a desire to give back to the community, to engage the community in meaningful ways, like doing service projects, spending time with the elderly at nursing homes, reading to them, big brother, big sister, with young kids in the neighborhood. So service and then ethics is a huge part of the North Park experience and a value that identifies with the Christian faith, but also with non-Christians as well. So those two values, those two characteristics, I think transcend Christian faith, but connect all students at North Park. If students are wanting to, or they're interested in the Christian faith, we have a variety of different activities that they can get involved in with our university ministries department, including global partnerships, worship teams. We do have chapel on Wednesdays. It's not mandatory. Again, North Park is located in Chicago, third largest city in the United States. Our campus is situated on the north side of the city. It's a very residential part of Chicago, about 12 kilometers from the middle of downtown, or the Loop, as it's called in Chicago. And we're about 5 kilometers just west of Lake Michigan. The public transportation in Chicago is a great system. It's very easily accessible, and the subway comes about a 10-minute walk from campus. So students can get around the city very easily. All of our undergraduate students get a transportation card as part of their fees, so they can use the L and they can use, which are the subway system, and they can use the buses at no additional charge throughout the semester. The reason that students have unlimited access is because we have this program called Catalyst, and Catalyst is a experiential learning program that's built into every student's schedule. So on Wednesday afternoons, we don't have traditional classes on our campus. The afternoons are blocked off, and students meet with their professors and their classmates, and they go downtown for an experiential learning session. So if a student's in finance, they might go to the Chicago Board of Trade to meet with investors. If they're in a nonprofit program, they might go visit local nonprofits. An example that I think really paints a picture of what Catalyst is one of our art classes will take their students down to the Pilsen neighborhood, which is a historically Mexican neighborhood. And the neighborhood is covered in murals. It's a beautiful neighborhood. And students get to do an art walk through the neighborhood of Pilsen with local artists. They get to go in art studios. The artists explain the murals, which chronicle the migration from Mexico to Chicago. So it's just a really neat experience for them to learn about the city, learn about the history of the city. So Catalyst is a great opportunity for them really to dig into the city of Chicago and learn outside of the classroom. We've got a variety of different academic programs, everything from your standard business disciplines to STEM programs, mechanical engineering, molecular biology, biotechnology, biomedical sciences. Nursing is a very, very popular, very competitive program. Probably you could consider it our flagship program. North Park is very well known in the city for our nursing program. We do enroll international students in the nursing program, and they tend to be very successful. There's a huge need for nurses in Chicago, and especially bilingual or multilingual nurses. And so we have quite a few international students that graduate from the nursing program every year. Again, being in Chicago has its benefits other than entertainment. We've got many internship opportunities. So the proximity to just incredible businesses and organizations lends itself well to the academic experience for our students. Internships aren't required for all programs. They are required for quite a few of our programs, including all of our business programs. This is just a small list of organizations that North Park students are interning at on a regular basis. We have a careers and internship office that assists in this process. Students also work with their professors for internship placement, depending on what program they're in. Student success is a huge focus at North Park. This is a significant investment. We want to make sure students are getting the most out of their experience and they're successful. So we have a variety of different resources available to ensure the success of our students, including disability resources. So if students need any disability or they have any disabilities that are going to require accommodations, we just need to know about them in advance so that we can help advocate for the student and make sure that they get what they need so that they can stay so that they can be successful in the classroom. North Park has invested a significant amount of money over the years in updating its facilities. We've got a simulation lab, which you can see at the top right, for our nursing students. It's an incredible facility, so it helps them build competence before they do their clinicals, and it also allows them to practice in between clinical rotations where they can be observed. We bring in paid actors to simulate illnesses, so nurses get experience with bedside manner prior to working with actual patients in the clinical setting. We've got a 101,000 square foot science center, the Johnson Center, which has a cadaver lab for students who are really focused on going into the health sciences. It's got PCR machines. It's an incredible facility. We have a laser lab for our engineering and physics students. Music has been a very strong program for years for North Park, and so we've got brand new music facilities as well. Housing is guaranteed for our undergraduate students. Students can stay in campus housing for all 4 years of their education. Typically, we're going to require a student to be in campus housing until they turn 21 or until they're considered a third-year student or have accumulated 90 credit hours. A lot of our international students, however, are coming to North Park because they have family in the area. And in situations like these, we're able to waive the housing requirement, so students can live with an aunt and uncle, extended family that are near campus. And all of the dining is on campus as well. And everything is within a 5-minute walk from the dorms, the cafeteria, the classrooms. It's all nice and close to each other, which makes it that much more safe, which I think is parents like to hear, for sure. It's kind of a fun thought. North Park has a very robust study abroad portfolio. We find that our international students tend to be a bit more adventurous than our domestic students. And so uh, it's very common for international students to decide to go spend a semester at one of our exchange partners somewhere else in the world. We've got direct exchange partnerships throughout Europe, Asia, and South America, as well as Australia. So if students are interested in being a North Park student, getting their degree from North Park, but spending a semester somewhere else in the world, that's completely possible. And most of the programs cost is about identical to being at North Park, because the way the programs are structured is we bill the student tuition and they pay housing wherever they're at. And oftentimes the housing costs tend to be a little bit less than what they are at North Park. Being a student at North Park means, they're going to get engaged in the campus community. A lot of activities and clubs available for students, from academic, music, cultural clubs, to athletics. This is a big part of the American college experience or university experience, whether students are participating in organized athletics or whether they're just going to support the North Park athletic programs. There's a lot available there for their entertainment, as well as facilities. So staying healthy, burning off some steam in the gym. All of this is available to our students, and all of these facilities are newly updated as well. So as far as the application process goes, that's handled through Wellspring. But what we want to communicate here is just the our interest in making this as smooth and as easy as possible for the student and for the agent. And so all we're asking for is an official high school transcript and an English proficiency test. So just those two documents, and then we're going to turn the application over as quickly as possible. Our minimum English proficiency requirements are stated here. We do have a little bit of flexibility and have been able to accept students with scores a little bit lower than these on full I-20s. So we can accept as low as a 70 TOEFL and as low as a 6.0 IELTS. The 105 is a pretty firm low or minimum score. And then once the student has been admitted and they're ready to take their next steps, then you work with Wellspring for the deposit. And then we would work with the student and getting them registered for housing and then for classes. This is the current cost of tuition and room and board at North Park, $36,325. That's for this academic year. It will be set to change here in another probably week and a half. Our board meetings are underway now, and so we'll be announcing a new tuition amount in the next probably week or so. But we don't expect that the tuition and housing to increase dramatically. It'll just be a slight increase. Let me go back to the tuition. So the tuition and room and board are about 47,000. We're providing scholarships to 100% of our international students. And the scholarships this year ranged, on average, they were about $18,000 per year. and the scholarships are renewed automatically annually. The low end of the scholarship offered was 16,000, and the highest typically is about 19,000, but we've been able to increase that amount up to 22,000 for students who really needed it. Typically a good academic profile, but with some financial need. So I'd recommend checking North Park out. These are our social media handles. Get a really good feel of what's going on campus, on our Instagram and our Facebook accounts. This is my contact information. Obviously, you're welcome to contact me, but I know that our regional sales managers have at Wellspring have a great understanding of North Park. So you're obviously welcome to reach out to them as well. And that's the end of my presentation.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michael. That was great. I know we had at least one other person join while we were presenting, so we didn't get to say hi to you at the beginning, so we'll say hi at the end. Hope you enjoyed. If anyone has any questions, feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask, or if you'd rather write it in the chat or the Q&A feature, please feel free.
Michael, do you accept O-level students?
Yes, we do accept O-level. We won't waive the English proficiency on an O-level, but we'll waive it on an A or an AS level.
Okay.
So if they do the advanced.
Okay. So O-level students, and then is there a minimum A?
Is it a minimum what?
A. I mean, how old they can be at the dorm, or if they're too young, they're not allowed.
Oh, I mean, as long as they have their high school diploma or equivalent, then they would be eligible. So, I mean, if they're younger than 18, then they have to obviously get parental consent on everything. So it's a little more complicated, but yeah, I mean, we have had 17-year-olds turn 18 in their freshman year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions tonight for us? This morning for you guys?
Yeah, Michael. So this is really a frequent question from the Korean and Taiwanese parents about the safety around the campus. So how do you describe of the safety?
Yeah, so two things. I think number one, we're in a big city, so we're never immune from crime or anything like that. But secondly, we're on the north side of the city, which is generally, a much safer part of the city of Chicago. So we don't see much crime in our area. So it is safe. But regardless, safety is a huge focus for the university. We have our own campus security that most of the officers are either retired or they're active duty police officers in local municipalities. All of our students go through a safety training during orientation, just kind of common sense stuff. We have a shuttle service to the train, so if students don't feel safe or if they don't want to walk by themselves, they can call the security team to escort them to and from the train or to somewhere else on campus. And then what was the last thing that I wanted to mention? Oh, and then all students get like a safety app that's kind of like an alert system. So, they can always share their location with a friend, with family. There's a panic feature on the app, so if they ever feel concerned, they can notify someone very easily. So safety is a priority, but fortunately, we're in a very quiet, safe residential part of the city. But it's important just to not take that for granted and make sure everybody is prepared and is operating with common sense.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? And as Michael
And-
said, oh,
I'm sorry. And I just wanted to ask about the other programs. Like, do you have any popular program related to engineering?
The one engineering program that we do have, specific engineering program, is mechanical. We do have a general engineering program, but the specific engineering that we have is mechanical, which it tends to be a pretty open-ended type program, so it can translate well into really any sort of engineering that focused on movement. And so if students are looking at going on to graduate school, that's where they can get more specific.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks.
so like Michael said, if you have any other questions about North Park, please be sure to reach out to your regional sales representative. So Twee here and Lynn both cover Vietnam. We have Harry here who covers Korea, Taiwan, and Japan. We also have several representatives in China as well. So, and we recently have a representative in Indonesia. So if any of you agents are from those areas, be sure to reach out to our Wellspring reps if you have any questions for the webinar. Awesome. And with that, I think we are all good to wrap up. Again, I would just like to reiterate a thank you to Michael so much. It's late night there in Chicago, and I know it's not easy to get away from all the chaos of the household. So we really, really appreciate you making the time to join us tonight. And we hope that the agents learned so much and everyone is just appreciative of you.
Thank you. Glad to participate, and I hope to meet everybody in person sometime.
Yes, that's the goal. Awesome. Well, everybody have a great rest of your day, night, morning, wherever you are, and go North Park. What's your slogan? What's North Park's thing?
We're not like Arizona. We don't have a what,
Go
a
North
slogan. Go North Park. That's right.
What's your mascot? Do you have a mascot?
We're the Vikings. Yep, we're the Vikings.
Okay, so go Vikings.
Go Vikings. Yep.
Awesome.